Okay, being a workaholic versus allowing yourself some me time, aka some free time, to increase your motivation. What is better? So this is the topic for today. This is also the fourth part out of the 4 videos that I wanted to make about motivation. Let's get right into it. So far I talked a lot about, okay, what is motivation, what are the external or internal ways to motivate yourself, what is like the picture that you have, and what does this has to do with motivation, and also how to create long-term internal desire and write yourself your own frames that will help you with that. But today I want to talk about something that I had recently, the realization for me, and this is about me time, or aka free time, and what that has to do with motivation. Because I'm a person, usually I like to schedule everything, like my whole day. Usually if you see my calendar, it is scheduled. I know when I wake up, I know when I do my morning routine and all of the little tasks today. I know when I eat, when I go to bed, everything is scheduled. And I schedule everything because, okay, I want to use most of my time as productively as possible. I want to use every single second or minute out of my day as productively and as well as possible. But every once in a while I realized, I had it several times, I had those breakdowns where I realized, okay, my body or my mind cannot do that anymore. Like it cannot continue or follow the schedule anymore because I was just exhausted. Okay, and I wrote something down for you that I wanted to share about the effect that this has, like not allowing yourself breaks, the effect that it has on motivation. So I for myself came to the conclusion, grinding and hustling and working daily on your task and not allowing yourself breaks, aka not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, or in other words, not seeing any time to rest, not seeing any rewards, will lead to a decrease of motivation. When you don't have something that at some point rewards you, that like recharges your batteries, this will lead to you not being motivated at some point anymore. But on the other hand, if you maybe think about it, if you've been for a run, for example, or maybe like in a competition where you ran, no matter how exhausted you are, when you're like super close to the finish line, this is the point where we're like super motivated. Like where nothing could stop you, even though you like have no breath anymore, you sprint and you get like all of a sudden like an increase of motivation, because the reward, the pause and the like, okay, I'm almost there, is very prevalent. It's like, okay, it's easy, now let's do the last couple of steps. Okay, and when I realized that, I came to the conclusion for myself, having something to look forward to, or the anticipation of that, will lead to an increase in motivation. And this is why I will, like from now on, will allow myself some so-called me time, like between 30 to 60 minutes a day, usually at the end of the day, where I can do whatever I want to do. I can sit and do nothing, I can go for a walk, I can even watch YouTube videos on Netflix if I want to, because it's important that in this time that it is your reward. It needs to be something that where you don't restrict yourself with rules, because only then you can really fully recharge and fully relax. There's no pressure that I put onto myself. I had that a lot, like, okay, I put lots of restriction onto myself, what I'm not allowed to do. I'm not allowed to eat pizza, I'm not allowed to not go to the gym, I'm not allowed to be lazy, not allowed to sleep in. And all of these restrictions, to some degree, they extract energy from you, because you need some discipline to execute those, right? And so it's important to allow yourself everything in those 30 to 60 minutes. Ideally, of course, eat before that, so you don't eat pizza every evening. You know what I mean. Furthermore, what I also do, for example, on the weekends, I have another me time, so there's another light at the end of the tunnel after 1 week of work, and there is some more me time on the weekend. For example, okay, there are no sales calls on the weekend right now. I do a bit of YouTube work because I really enjoy it, but there's more free time and it's more flexible, my work, and it's more relaxed, everything. So here's something where I can look forward to and where I can enjoy and where's some anticipated reward. And what I'm planning to do, that I will use, like, this is what I have for my mentor and what he also did. After a couple of months, after a couple of weeks, I will allow myself and I will give myself even more me time. For example, after 2 months, allow yourself 1 full week off where you do not work, but that you use to reflect, especially onto your business and onto the things where you fuck up right now and where you can improve. Because it's always important, this is another topic, but this is maybe fits here well. It's important when you want to make decisions about your business or your improvement, or in general in life and decisions, to not make those decisions in the building that you are usually every day, because there your thoughts are the same every day. And if you're somewhere else, your thoughts change, you begin to think differently, you start to think outside of the box, because you're literally on the other place. So this is why you should never do business decisions in your office. Always go somewhere else to reflect about your business, but this is another topic. And often this 1 week that you take off will be the most productive week, because you know what adjustments you have to do to grow even quicker and even further. Last location change for today. For the longest time, I always had the expectations onto myself that I had to be like a machine. I had to function 24 hours every day. I had really to use every second of the day. And of course, this is super unhealthy, because literally we are not machines. I'm not like this, I'm not like a machine that can function 24/7. I need some breaks, I need to recharge. And the only thing that we can do is, okay, we have to accept that. And some very, very useful thing for me that I also want to give here to you, because at first I was like, no, this me time, I cannot do this because I cannot be productive in that time. I was like very resisting this me time. This, by the way, was the ego, because ego always wants to resist the areas where we have the most growth potential. And literally, if we think about it, this me time is the most important and the most productive thing that we can do in that moment in time. In those 30 to 60 minutes, this is the most productive thing that you can do. Because tomorrow you will wake up motivated, you will wake up with energy, and you will not be exhausted because you allowed yourself the break, you allowed yourself to recharge. And this is like a little reframe, how you can trick your ego and your brain. Hey, okay, I allow myself free time because it's the most productive thing to do, and also it's literally true. There's one little exception that I also want to share here with you. And this is when, for example, you watch the third video and have like super burning desire right now. And the burning desire is super high right now, and you're super motivated, you just want to execute and work. And you don't feel the need to have a break. You just still wake up in the morning and still are motivated until the end of the day. Don't ruin the momentum. Ride the wave of motivation, so to say, and use that. This is literally the nature of motivation. This will not be long-term. Because remember the definition out of video number 1 that I came up with. Motivation is always only like a short-term state that drives you. So basically, what are the consequences if you do not use this me time? And this is what I also experienced, so I want to share it here to you. So maybe you can relate to that. And maybe you can see then, okay, it's time for some me time. When you work all day, when you grind all day because you have your goals and you discipline yourself to still do the work, but you never see the light at the end of the tunnel. And at the next day when you wake up and you start again, we all know, okay, discipline is like a muscle, and at some point the muscle is exhausted. Today we will go to the gym, at some point my biceps can't lift anymore. It's the same with discipline. If we then still go like the next meter and still continue a bit more, at some point we can't do it anymore. We will quit, and especially our brain will quit. We will burn out, and the worst thing that could happen, and that happened to me, because it's such an exhausting and negative task, or it's like connected with something negative, your tasks, you start to hate your tasks. This is literally the worst that could happen, because this is the most unproductive thing that could happen to you, if you start hating your task. Because this is like when I can give you the guarantee that at some point you will quit. If you literally truly hate your job with all of your cells, there's the guarantee that at some point you will not go there anymore. You will be sick all day, or super often tell your boss, I can't come to work because I'm sick, just because your brain doesn't want anymore. Your brain needs that break. And when it's super worse and you do not listen to the signs of your body in this situation, for example, what happened to me is, when it's super worse, there will be some days during the week when you say, okay, the weekend I might take something off, but during the week, no, I have to work. But there will be days during the week where you just cannot get out of bed anymore. This happened to me. I was like in bed lying there I was like sleeping 11 to 13 hours sometimes, and I couldn't get out of bed because my brain just hated the work and it didn't allow myself to wake up anymore. The solution was, okay, I needed to allow myself some breaks. In those moments, the worst thing you can do is like to force yourself to work even more, to force yourself to discipline, to do it even when we don't feel like it. I think you hear that often nowadays in personal development. And I agree with that, but only to some degree. Because if you then force yourself to do the task, you will be dragged down into a state which is called apathy. And if you want to learn more about apathy and about your emotions, I can recommend you the book Letting Go by Dr. David R. Hawkins. And he talks about this emotion, also how we can get out of this emotion, because apathy is like, okay, there's no desire, no motivation to do anything. I also had it super often. I think I also shared it here on YouTube sometimes when I was in this state of apathy, where there's no hope, where you just lie in the bed and don't have any energy to even go to the fridge. You don't have energy to shower yourself. You stand in the shower and there's no motivation. You stand there in the shower for minutes, not having the energy to open up the water and shower yourself. So this is what we want to avoid. And this is what we do by seeing the negative direction that we're going to, the apathy, early on, and allowing ourselves this breaks, this me time, this light at the end of the tunnel.